Well, this is going to be interesting because I think this is the first time in the 12 days of reviews where I'm going to talk about an episode from a TV show instead of like a TV movie or something, or just a show in general. So this should be interesting. So, so this was the first Christmas special that Family Guy did, where it was, I believe, 2000, 2001, maybe. And this is back when Seth MacFarlane was still involved with the show. Like he was still, you know, he was still show running. And personally, this is back when I think Family Guy was best. I would say, Family Guy has been a show where the first, the first 4 or 5, maybe 6 seasons, that's like classic Family Guy. Seven has some good ones in there. 8 has some good ones in there. 9, there's a couple of them in there where I'm like, okay, that was fun. But then after that, it started just dwindling for me. And I left because one MacFarlane left to go do, I believe it was Ted at the time. And I was just like, yeah, this just isn't the same anymore. So I think seasons like 10 or maybe 11 through whatever it is right now, I think 26, I have not seen a single episode of those because I'm like, I don't really care anymore to watch these because it's just gone so downhill. But this was back when, Family Guy was still like in its infancy. It was, I believe this was when like either before or after Fox had canceled it and then resurrected it, but it was still going, and it was still going very well. So they decided, all right, let's do a Christmas episode. And so this episode is about, you know, Peter being, Peter, I guess. And he just wants to party and watch, Kiss Save Santa, which I'm going to be completely honest, I want that. I want a TV movie called Kiss Save Santa where you actually have, let's see, it was Gene, Peter, Paul, and Chris. You actually have the 4 of them trying to save Christmas. I want that. But he just wants to just goof off and just, be lazy, but doesn't understand like, oh, wait, I'm supposed to actually do these things. So he ends up giving all the family's presents to Toys for Tots just because he was not allowed to drink with his buddies, and he's just kind of furious about that. And then Lois is still trying to find all the good, but then, finding that they didn't have any paper towels, that just, that went over the edge, and she starts kind of like ruining everything. So this was, I would actually say it's maybe one of my favorite episodes of the whole series, because I think because it's like almost everybody in the family has something to do. Like, Peter just wants to, do absolutely nothing. Lois is trying to find all the good in everything, but then loses it. You have Stewie trying to figure out if Santa is real or not, which I thought that was really funny. And especially a dream sequence where it was like, yeah, you guys watched Star Wars a lot, didn't you? And even like the whole house disaster, because Brian is trying his hardest, but Peter, because of his dumb assery, is the one who ruins that. And so it's almost like everybody has something to do. And this was back when Family Guy, to me, every episode I was laughing at. And so this one I thought was really funny. Some of my favorite parts of this one it was Stewie finally meeting Santa at the mall and him saying like, all right, I'll finally be nice. And then they take a picture and he's like, yeah, I'll smile like a good boy. And then his face is just very, very psychopath. And every time I see it, it just makes me laugh because it's just so funny. Or, the fact that the house catches on fire because Peter, he buys a novelty fire extinguisher, because he likes physical comedy over safety. And I was like, that sounds like him. But, at the end of it, if you haven't seen the episode, they're able to, get Lois back to see what, the good of what Christmas does, and that, it's all about being together and being love. And then according to Stewie, it's about love and plutonium. So, you got to have your priorities. So this episode, I like how, it's still funny, and it's almost like everybody has something to do here. And this is classic Family Guy that I miss, is that writing wise, it was just really well done. When MacFarlane left, it was like almost everybody in the whole family you hated. The stories were not memorable, where with, the first six, I would say maybe first 6-7 seasons of Family Guy, almost every episode's story was nice. Not saying that they were all memorable, but you had some ones in there that was like, yeah, I miss those. And, like the Road to episodes with Brian and Stewie, they were just so well written that it was like, see, this is what we miss. And it seems like we're getting very few of that, which sucks. And, after, I would say, like I said, like season 9, I drifted way away from Family Guy. I just drifted away from it because I'm like, this just isn't catching my attention anymore. But when I rewatch classic old Family Guy, it's like, see, this is what I miss. So when I see like some of my friends, they're just like, yeah, I don't watch Family Guy because it's dumb and stupid. It's like, yeah, it is, but go back and watch like the earlier seasons. It's like, because the writing is just really, really funny. They're memorable, and it's why we watched. Now it's just like I put it on the background and it helps me fall asleep, which actually personally some of my family does that. They put it on the background and they fall asleep. So, oh well. But, for overall this episode, to me, it's one of my favorite episodes of the whole series. It's one where I'm like, you know what, I'd watch that every Christmas season, because it's chock full of funny moments. It has a good message with what they're doing. And of course, Family Guy being Family Guy, they're going to reference movies or other like TV stuff and like pop culture stuff at the time. So of course they're going through all the Christmas movies and specials and stuff. So we do see It's a Wonderful Life. We do see Frosty the Snowman. So yeah, it's really funny. And yeah, personally, it's not amazing. It's not amazing for me, but it's still like a great, because it's just back when personally, I think it's back when Family Guy, I guess, cared about what they were doing. Not saying that they don't care now, but it's just very different. And I remember watching an interview with MacFarlane, and he said that, I think he was talking about the 25 years of the show. And he was talking about like how when a creator leaves, a show can go so far south that it's like, oh well. And he says like with Family Guy, that hasn't happened. And I'm like, actually, I think it did. Once MacFarlane left, Family Guy was not the same anymore. And yeah, which sucks, because, that was actually, Family Guy was one of the few, like, I guess, adult cartoons that I watched where I was like starting to see what kind of humor I found funny. Like shows like this or Robot Chicken or South Park, I was watching at a young age. And I was like, yeah, this is funny. I like this kind of humor. It's dark, somewhat offensive, but I find this funny. And I really wish Family Guy go back to that. Will we get it? I don't know, but I wish. That's what I want for Christmas. Family Guy to go back to the way it was.